Well, welcome. Boy, do we have a lot of news to cover today. Yes, we do. So, without further ado, you will see me reading sometimes off of my other cell phone just to kind of check on what points I'm actually going to be doing to see exactly what I wanted to talk about within each topic. Let's get right into it. All right, our first topic right here. Our first topic is the bird flu. Yes, the bird flu. They are talking about the bird flu. That doesn't seem to be in mainstream media sources right now. I got a feeling that this little bird flu thing is going to cause a little bit of problems for us. The reason I get that is because if you look up on the CDC website, it says that 55 million birds are infected. That's a pretty serious high number, or so they say, because I don't trust anything that the media tells me anymore. But since it's really not out in the open right now, it may be true. Is this going to lead to this over here? Is it going to jump over? Are we going to see a new pandemic from this? Is this a start of something new that they have in store for us? Could this be what they were running that simulation for that I did a couple videos back from Billy the Baphomet Gates? Is this something that they had in mind? Kind of taking this bird flu that's, years and years ago was a big deal and kind of hidden back into the depths of their little gremlin hellhole to hide it back and bring it and roll it out at a later time when it's more deadly and whatever have you. They do all this research and stuff. That one is not really proven research, but they definitely can create bioweapons. That's something that I think that they are capable of. Now, whether or not it's actually real and they really can do that, I'll never know. We'll never know because we're not part of those ABC agencies that know all the inside information. But it's something to look out for. It's definitely something to keep your eye on. And I'll have the link to all this information that I'm giving in the description. I'm thinking that this is going to lead to possibly a new outbreak of some kind of alternate sickness. I know it sounds weird, but they're trying to break the mold of COVID. So they're trying to come up with something different because they've already come out with, all this other stuff and it's kind of gone awry. But bird flu kind of sounds a little bit scary. It definitely sounds scarier than monkeypox. That was a flop. So they're trying to come up with something that is actually going to encourage people to want to go back to the same restrictions we had with the whole COVID narrative. And since that's kind of faded away, now they're trying to bring up something else. I believe that this could also lead to something else that's going to cause a problem in this scenario, and that would be food shortages. Or it would at least be you can't have your chicken or turkey or pheasant or whatever you eat, your quail, any of those kind of birds, because they all are all infected with this new bird flu that's going around. Yes, people, they decided we can't burn down any more food processing plants. That's getting a little too obvious and people are starting to catch on. Let's just murder all the birds in the United States and maybe that will get everybody to eat Z-bugs. Okay, moving right along here. Spending bill. This is a big topic. Big topic. And how this spending bill directly goes into the economy. This spending bill is something ridiculous. I think it's precisely like 1.66 trillion. Just a massive amount of money. Just made up numbers, honestly, at this point. They're just made up numbers. None of this money we have even that's rotating and circulating in society is even real to begin with. But it's laughable because of the amount that they are throwing out to all this other nonsense that they're saying they're spending the money on. So let me just read some of the stuff off of here that I read in the bill. I'm not a political guy. I'm really not. I know I talk about politics, but that's only because it is seriously stuff that controls this country. That controls every country is politics, because we need to break that mold of getting out of politics. That's why I don't believe in politics. I just follow it because it needs to be reported on and it needs to be talked about how ridiculous it is that anybody even picks a side. Anyway, the two Congress people that the federal buildings are going to be renamed after are Nancy Pelosi and Richard C. Shelby. So they had to throw in one Democrat and one Republican to make it fair, but either way, they're both crooks. All politicians are crooks. Other things that they have in here, they're talking about a ban of TikTok on government devices. Now, it's funny because they don't like TikTok because a lot of people post on TikTok. Sometimes a lot of stuff is not really censored. And yes, things do get taken down like any other social media website or anything like that. But a lot of it will make it out there, and a lot of videos will go viral very quickly. Like TikTok is a very up-to-date, constantly moving, constantly evolving platform. And people are interested in watching those videos. Though it is definitely used to dumb down the younger generation with how fast and quick these videos move past you. Sometimes they'll put a little bit of a red pill in there, if you will, every few videos you're swiping up, and see if they can catch some of these younger generation people that think that all these other issues are so important, when they don't realize that there are literal demons working from the spiritual realm to take this world all down and get as many spirits and as many souls of God down to hell with them. So that's interesting that they're banning the TikTok, or they're putting a ban on TikTok on federal devices. What it exactly says is TikTok will be banned from all federal government devices under the spending bill. A move intended to assuage, I'm not sure if that's the way the word said, that's how I'm reading it, heightened privacy and national security concern about the app, which is owned by the Chinese company ByteDance. U.S. officials have argued that TikTok, which has an estimated 100 million users in the United States, can share sensitive data about the location, personal habits, and interests of Americans with the Chinese government. Okay. So they're worried about the U.S. citizens' the privacy concerns. Okay, that's a bunch of bullcrap. They don't care about your privacy. They just don't want you getting information that isn't being caught in the flow, that's not being taken out or caught by the fact checkers in time, and makes it out there for at least a few thousand people to see, maybe even more, before it gets taken off. They don't care about privacy. This is the federal government we're talking about here, the United States federal government, which could honestly be argued that it's just as corrupt, if not even more corrupt, than the Chinese government. So go figure, two powerhouses, two completely demonically controlled governments going at it just to find another way to suppress as much information getting out to the public as possible. But it's for your privacy, no doubt. That's what they're worried about. Another thing that's in this bill is international climate finances loses out. The bill includes just $1 billion to help poor countries. So we're only giving $1 billion to the poor countries. How dare we? Just $1 billion to help poor countries develop renewable energy and build resilience to the impacts of climate change. Roughly the same amount Congress granted last year. Oh, how dare we? How dare we give just $1 billion? How dare we just steal everything out of every American's pocket, out of everything they've ever worked for? People who have worked for 70 years and have their 401ks getting taxed out the wazoo that they can't even actually retire. How dare we only give $1 billion? But it's just so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous that these are people that are, this isn't voted on. This is controlled by people that aren't even actually voted into our legislation system. They get in and they powerhouse, they strong arm our whole system, and they take over it. They completely took over this whole system, and they are screwing us 7 ways to Sunday, my friend. They don't care about you. They are demons in charge. They are working for the devil. They are spirits of Satan, and the only way to push back upon this is to, 1, not comply whatsoever, and 2, to use your God spirit inside of yourself to rise up and talk against this, to finally wake up. Wake up. It's to finally get your mind free from this cage, this delusion that they've boxed you into, because you are stuck in it. If you think that any of this is relevant, any of this actually has anything to do with what's important in life. Because money really isn't important, but the fact that we are living in a society where we can make some good changes in life based off of this money. Well, now all this is getting taken away. Now the power transfer, the wealth transfer to all these demonic scumbags is going on. You have nothing, you have no power, you have no, because you need money to function in this world, at least right now in this system. That's why breaking away, making our own system is the most important thing. But you can't do that with such a minority of people, because if they all get weeded out and slaughtered and killed, which will happen more than likely, then we can never build that society. We can never make a push or a run against these demonic scumbags that are the worst kind of spirits. They're not even human. I'm convinced that they're not even human, that they are possessed, these alien demon spirits, whichever one they really are, because there's no way of knowing. I've never seen any evidence that there are such beings that besides humans in this realm, but I'm certain that there are. And I'm certain of you that they possess human bodies and that they are demonic spirits and that they are unclean spirits. Anyway, moving on. Let's see what else they got in this on this laughable bill. Oh, here's another one I had. Millions could lose access to Medicare. The legislation includes a number of proposals that could greatly affect Medicaid eligibility, maintaining pandemic-era policies that protected children, mothers, and low-income Americans. But the bill's passage could mean that millions of people who have been enrolled because of pandemic policies may lose access to the programs next spring. Under current law, states are required to keep all Medicaid beneficiaries enrolled as the public health emergency continues, most likely until the spring or summer. Lawmakers are proposing that states be allowed to remove some program recipients beginning April 1st, regardless of when the emergency declaration is lifted. The move could save the program money, but could mean that millions of Americans with higher income than the federal limit for the program will no longer be guaranteed coverage. States will be required to report to the federal government changes they make in Medicaid enrollment. Oh, who cares? Who cares about your health and well-being? As long as we can send more to Ukraine and bullcrap research in the laboratories and renewable energy for poor countries, and also give all this money to illegal immigrants who come here and they automatically are enrolled. As soon as you cross that border, they must have something on you. Beams right to you and tells you, well, you have everything that a United States citizen has and then some. What is the benefit of even being a United States citizen anymore? There is absolutely zero benefit of being a sovereign citizen of the United States anymore. It's a joke. Oh, and on that note, speaking of giving money to Ukraine disaster relief. Included in the bill is $44.9 billion in emergency assistance to Ukraine and NATO allies. Oh, and $40.6 billion to assist communities across the United States recovering from natural disasters and other matters. We give less to the people suffering from natural disasters than we do to Ukraine. How many more billions and billions of dollars will we give to Ukraine? It's anybody's guess. At this point, it doesn't matter. Honestly, the national debt's at what, 31 trillion, almost 32 trillion by now. Why even matter? It's all just numbers. They're fake numbers anyway, so it really doesn't matter, to be honest with you. This is just a slap in the face. This is just the time that you need to read this, to see this, and be like, dude, I'm really in a delusional world if I am believing that this is truly the right thing, that this is truly, they're doing this to help us. They're not doing this to have any ulterior motive there. There is, I can't. My mind's going to explode if I think about it too much. It says also that $2.4 billion is to help resettle Ukrainians into the United States. That's our responsibility, once again, to help to pay for people's ways and means. It says here that a total of $858 billion is going towards our military defenses. We're spending $858 billion on our already way over funded military. For what, you may ask? Who knows? It's anybody's guess. Any of this information is anybody's guess as to why that they're funding these things, as to what the real purpose of any of this is. All we know is that it's not here to actually benefit us any way, shape, or form. They have $1.7 trillion bill when we're already almost $32 trillion in debt. and counting. And it's laughable. It's honestly just despicable. Last thing I wanted to touch in this bill that I thought was very interesting is increasing funding for the police. It's funny how they just say police makes you think it's your local police departments that may help low-income areas, run down neighborhoods that could use the police, that could stop the drug activities and the crimes and homicides and shootings. No. That's not what we're talking about here. The bill includes more than $770 million for federal law enforcement grants issued to local governments, an increase of more than $96 million. Another $324 million can be used to hire 1,800 law enforcement officers across the nation. Do we think that these grants, federal law enforcement grant, is actually to fund local municipalities, or do we think that it's going directly back into the ABC agencies that can spy on us or boss us around or hold us hostage? It's anybody's guess. We'll see at this point. It's just ridiculous. That's pretty much everything that happened with the spending bill. So we're going to look more into also what this spending bill is going to do to our economy. I mean, it's going to crash the economy. I already did a video last Wednesday that the economy is needing to be collapsed right now, and it's needing to be collapsed because they need to bring the CBDC in. What a perfect catalyst. Continue to just write up trillion-dollar bills. Why not just make it quadrillion? Why not just make it an infinite amount, an open-ended amount spending bill? Just leave it up there, and whatever country wants to just put in a number, just let them put in that number and give them that money. I mean, at this point, it just seems like the easiest way to do it. Instead of just going through all this trouble with Congress and sending in bills and trying to get them approved, which is just a bullcrap fake system anyway. How about we just wipe the spending bill, just put free money bill, or just put open-ended free money bill. And whatever country needs money at any time, just send a text to Joe Biden and say, hey, we need this amount of money. Send it over here pronto, you little beta male, you little weakling, old fart. Just send us the money that we need right now. Okay, and that's old Joe just sends it right over to him. So this is no doubt what they're doing. There's no doubt that this spending bill is part of the economy crashing scheme. It's to move it along faster. It's to bring in the CBDC. This spending bill is definitely part of the economy crashing, and it's definitely to help bring in the CBDC. Because what does the CBDC do? It centralizes everything. Every payment can be tracked. Every transaction you make. You can't give your grandma $20 because her social security check has been completely taxed out of oblivion because of all the spending bills. CBDC is meant for full control. It's part of the Mark of the Beast system. It's part of what they're trying to roll out here. It's part of the book of Revelations. It's prophecy being fulfilled before our eyes. And they are really going to roll this out. So if you think that this is just some kind of joke and that you shouldn't be watching this and that we're all just crazy nut jobs, go ahead and think that. I really could not care any less than I do right now about people who are not being awake. I mean, I make these videos in efforts that maybe somebody will come across it and see it and be like, okay, I really should start paying attention. I really should start doing my own research, which you should. I encourage it. But mainly I do it to keep myself in a reality check and to let myself know that, to remind myself that this is the stuff that they're doing. And it's not a lie. It's not a joke. It's not something I just made up from thin air. And that the other people that feel this way or think this way or see this stuff happening, that they are completely in the right for feeling this way and seeing this stuff and being like, what the heck's going on here? Last thing about this economy situation is this article came out on the 19th. It's from Yahoo. It says, Bloomberg now expects 2023 to be one of the worst years for the world economy since 1993. But don't panic. Here are 3 stocks to help protect you from the pain. Stocks. What a joke. ever follow that advice to buy stocks to help you with the pain of the coming economic collapse, because that's just another way for them to get whatever last pennies they can out of your pocket, because these people are scumbags, they're demonic, they're full of greed and full of sin, and all they care about is the bottom line, and they will pinch you for your last 10, 5, $1 that you have in your bank account, in your pocket. They want every single cent of it. They want you to be poor. They want you to be completely wealthless and dead in the ground. Okay, now we're going to move on to the verse of the day. Verse of the day. All right. So we can finally get a good message in. During all this chaos, we'll get a good message in here. Our verse of the day comes from Romans chapter 3, verse 9, King James Version. What then? Are we better than they? No, in no wise. For we have before proved, both Jews and Gentiles, that they are all under sin. The reason I chose to go that route with the verse of the day is because I've often found myself struggling, thinking, I don't think I have any Jewish heritage or Jewish lineage, and they are the chosen people. So I find myself a lot of times not understanding, am I still loved if I have no Jewish heritage and no Jewish lineage, or I'm not an Israelite, or whatever the case may be, which I don't think anybody actually has the solid answers for that. Yes, the Bible hints at certain people being Israelites and certain people being Jews and whatever have you, but it doesn't really explicitly say what the color of people's skin were, what kind of people they were, where they originate from, where did they go, where are their settlements. It doesn't say that. But I often even thought, if I was or wasn't, if I was a Gentile, am I still counted amongst God's children? Am I still loved by God? And this verse in particular right here just tells you that God does not pick favorites. God does not pick favorites. Just because he uses the term chosen people does not mean that it means saved people, the only people that can get saved. Gentiles are in the same boat as Jews. And I know some people aren't going to like hearing that. I don't really care. Have faith that if you're a Gentile and if you think you may be a Gentile, have no fear that God loves you any less, because he loves you just as much as he loves any of his children, even the chosen people. And he will allow you into his kingdom as long as you follow the ways of Jesus Christ, as long as you repent, as long as you believe that Jesus is your King and that Jesus is your Savior. Any Gentile is marked among the same as Jews. And Jesus came to save us all. He came to save Jews and Gentiles alike. Jesus does not discriminate who his salvation was for, who his sacrifice was for on the cross. It was for both Jews and Gentiles. Jesus loves us. He's trying to help us fight these demonic scumbags. He's trying to help us enlighten our spirits. People mock him. People laugh at him. People do whatever they can to bring down the Christian faith. All I can say to that is it doesn't bother me. You're just hurting yourself. In the end game, your soul's going to be trapped here and trapped in hell and tossed into the lake of fire. So you're really doing that to yourself. I hope that my words, my message that God sends through me can help you out of whatever kind of spell you're under or delusion you're under. But I mean, it's not a guarantee that any person is actually going to change the way they live or what they do. So just remember that if you're struggling, thinking you're just a Gentile and you're not loved by God and Jesus' sacrifice wasn't for you and you weren't meant to be saved, that is a total lie. It is used as, once again, a deception. It's a belief that people use to divide us and conquer us. And I won't ever allow it. Whether I'm a Jew, whether I'm a Gentile, whether I'm an Israelite, whether I'm this, whether I'm that, doesn't matter. I'm a child of God. I have a God spirit. My spirit light shines bright, and I'm not going to let it be dimmed by any of these demonic scumbags. I refuse to let these demons come into my house, come into my soul, and try and tear me apart. Whatever they are, I cast them out in the name of Jesus Christ, and I say to God, put on that armor for me every day, every night. Let me fight against it. And let me say, it's just not too late for anybody out there that's struggling with this. Okay, moving on. Stop having kids movement. This is a real thing. This, like anything else, is like BLM or any other kind of movement. These people are serious. This is a stop having kids movement. I'm going to pull up a lot of pictures, and I have the link to their website in the description, or you can check it out for yourself. So the stop having kids movement is a real deal thing. Some of these billboards that they have around, one of them here says, "A lot of humans wish they were never born." Most people do not stop to question having children before opting to procreate. And as you can see, it says learn about antinatalism. And learn about antinatalism. Oh, antinatalism. That's a new term, I guess. I've never heard of that term before. So antinatalism. Let's learn about it. In this picture, you can see we have a fine gentleman holding up a sign that says, "My balls, my choice. Elective vasectomies for all." You're right, buddy. You are truly right. Your balls, your choice. Get them cut off. You probably already struggle to present yourself as a man anyway, or to at least uphold your moral and man-like duties in this world. So go ahead and cut them off. I'm pretty sure people wouldn't even notice the difference. Your balls, your choice, get them cut off. I think you're actually probably doing us a service. You're actually probably doing the right thing in that instance. Just go ahead and cut them off. And underneath it says, vasectomies do not make you lose your manhood. They make you a better man. Okay. Stop this. Okay. So, me getting my balls cut off. I'm sorry to use this term, and I'm sorry to be so vulgar about it, but it's hilarious. So, by me, let me be more proper. Me getting my testicles cut off, it doesn't make me lose my manhood, and it makes me a better man. It actually makes me a better man. That makes sense. That's right on par with what they talk about anyway in today's society with the whole other movement that's going on, the whole 50 million different types of people, and you can wake up and decide that you're a tractor trailer on the back of an 18-wheeler. That's the way it is nowadays. Let's keep reading, because this is actually some hilarious, interesting stuff. But it's not hilarious, it's actually kind of scary. We can choose to end the cycle of needless suffering and death. Help those who already exist. You don't need a mini-me. We have this gentleman holding up a sign. You don't need a mini-me. Just worry about the people that exist. Don't worry about carrying on God's legacy. Don't worry about keeping the human race alive that God created, that He encouraged us to procreate from Adam and to be prosperous, be fruitful, and multiply. Don't worry about that. Just worry about the people already existing, and then eventually we'll run out of people who are old enough to be workers or learn any real skills and keep the society going. Don't worry about it. Just let it die out. We ought to be less reckless and selfish. Humans inherently, and they love using this word inherently, I think they feel like it expands their vocabulary and makes them feel smarter somehow by using the word inherently. People love using that word nowadays, especially the woke crowd. Humans inherently have a bodily right to choose to have kids. You're dang right. Or to choose not to have kids. You're dang right. But we seek a world in which people ponder the decision in question if their motives are selfish and if birthing another human is a sound idea. I've never once questioned whether it was a selfish idea. A crazy delusional lunatic that is Satan possessed will come across this video and say, "Of course you don't see it as selfish. You're one of them white supremacist, this males, this white nationalist guy." Go ahead, call me whatever you want, I don't care. All humans and other animals have an inherent birthright to bodily autonomy and reproduction. But should we force others into existence when we know there is no consent, desire, or unselfish need for the unborn to come into the world? Further, we know there's no deprivation, harm, or unfairness in never existing. If any of us were never born, we wouldn't even know the difference. You're right, we wouldn't, but I don't see the point there. We ought to consider future problems. We think it's best and most considerate for humans to not come into existence, which for them will be facing serious and severe problems that could have been avoided, and exacerbating problems that threaten all life and ecosystems on Earth. Each additional human is a gamble with no guarantees. We believe there are no reasons for having children that aren't selfish, besides through force, and that having children is unethical and irrational, despite the fact that birth is a natural process. For those who have the means, maturity, and desire to care for life other than oneself, already existing life that's in need, humans, other animals, and nature should be the priority as well as the norm. Pro-choice but not creating new humans is the superior choice. And then we have a nice gentleman pointing a sign at a young lady that says boycott procreation. Deprocreation, not depopulation. Let me tell you something. You're right, deprocreation is not depopulation in the sense where you're murdering millions and millions of people. But it is depopulation as in it stops the population from growing. So it is depopulation. So I like what you try to do there. And then there's a little link that says what exactly is antinatalism. I love that. I absolutely love that word. It's hilarious. Antinatalism takes harm reduction seriously. Life is suffering. Should we not do everything in our power to reduce suffering? Existing life needs us. Billions of humans and other animals desperately need help. You sure you want kids? Why bring others into a world in which you continually escape? So they're saying because you get on your smartphone, because you get on Call of Duty, because you get on your bike and ride around town, because you go into another room and meditate, because you watch a TV show that you love, you have no right to bring somebody into this world because clearly you're miserable with your life. Why would you bring somebody else, a child, into this world when you could barely stand existing, when you constantly try and escape? No, a crazy person, it's not me trying to escape. It's me trying to do something called living my life without you impeding on it, without you trying to constantly monitor and constantly tell me how to live my life. That's what I'm trying to escape from. I'm not trying to escape from living my life. I'm trying to escape from people like you. So I took a nice little screen recording here of the shop that they have on the website. As you can see, they have various crew necks, tank tops, signs, limited edition shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff, all that wonderful, beautiful stuff. They even have stickers. They have stickers to put on your kid's door. They have stickers to put on your front door. They have stickers to put on your car. They have stickers to put anywhere you feel. Like how they had those I did that Joe Biden sticker for the gas stations. Go ahead and slap a couple of these stickers onto a gas pump. It's honestly laughable. This world is just becoming complete lunacy, complete la la land. We can no longer live in a place of peace and quiet and goodness and wholeness and being in touch with God. Well, after that comedy show of a website and movement, let's go ahead and move on to our last subject. Right here, we have a little bit of news. I don't know if a lot of people are going to know who this person is, but Franco Harris. He was a Steeler, a Pittsburgh Steeler. He had an amazing catch in one of the playoff games. I'm not a huge sports guy. I'm not a huge football fan anymore in particular. I used to play football. I love football. The game itself, the activity of football. I think that the NFL and all those other big major league sports, they're all rigged. They're all under the same method as all this other stuff that's going on. They're rigged. They're predetermined. There's no way that they're legitimate. They're all gambled on. You know who's going to win beforehand. They're going to win their money back. They allow people to gamble on these because it's a moneymaker. Because they already know what's going to happen. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Let's just talk about Franco Harris here. So he was a big pro sports football player, played for the Steelers, and he dies at 72. There hasn't been any real cause of death laid out. I will say that I actually met Franco Harris at a Steelers game I was at like 10 years ago at a playoff game where they played against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He seemed completely full of life. I didn't see a guy that would have struggled or died in 10 years later. Now, I know people are going to say 10 years is a long time, 10 years, a lot of things can happen, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to go ahead and chalk this up as a died suddenly case. That's probably what it's going to turn into. They're probably going to say that there is no real cause of death, either going to be natural causes or some kind of heart complication or stroke or whatever may occur. And I know death is a part of natural life. It's a part of the natural cycle of things. Death happens. Yes, I understand that. Okay? But when they throw these celebrities, these athletes, these people that have a lot of money that can afford good health care, a lot better health care than you and I, they end up dying at ages like 72 or 50 or 60, 40. When we have people that have a lot of money, they die at 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. It seems a little weird because I know that a lot of people beforehand were living, a lot of these celebrity deaths, they would happen once in a blue moon, and usually it'd be like obvious, like a drug overdose or some kind of accident, freak accident that happened, which would also be aligned with, human ritual sacrifice, which does go on in the celebrity realm and all those other places to get success, to get that money. They make contracts and they sacrifice people, loved ones, family member, people that they know, other celebrities, people that they get in close with them. Don't get in close with these celebrities. Don't ever get in close with these celebrities. If you ever come across these celebrities, I wouldn't even treat them as if they're a celebrity. These scumbags would get you murdered in half a second and think nothing of it, just to keep their contract with the devil going so that they can make their millions and millions of dollars. So I'm thinking this wasn't a sacrifice situation, I don't believe. This was just, but I do believe that it was clearly linked to that that thing that goes right here. I think that this was probably directed. That was the direction we're going in with that one. So, I mean, could I be wrong? Of course I could be wrong. Could I be right? I could absolutely be right. So I like to take my chances and think that I'm right rather than wrong in that situation, because it's been happening so much with all these celebrities, athletes, you name it. Anybody that took these things, especially multiple of them, you're a ticking time bomb for death. So, we have finally reached the end. We have finally gone through all this. I know this is probably like the longest video I'll ever put out, probably the longest video I've ever done. But I covered things, actually tried to stay on these topics and explain them to you. That's why I'm trying to be thorough in my research. What I'm trying to do here is give you guys the ability to critically think. So my ideas, my thoughts on all this stuff, that's all they are. They're just thoughts. They're just things that I see happening in my perception of reality. All these things that are going on, this is just stuff I'm bringing to you, for which you can do whatever you want. You can see these for what they are and whichever way you choose. I'm not going to try and sway you one way or the other. If you agree with me, awesome. If you don't agree with me, whatever, that's awesome too. Because you have that ability for thinking, free will. I'll never try to tell somebody that they don't have free speech, that they don't have free thought. But it's funny because the people on the opposite side of that spectrum, they will tell themselves they have free will and free thought and they can say whatever, but you cannot do the same. Okay, fair enough, but I'm still going to do whatever I want. Take this information the way you want to take it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my spins on it. I try and go in depth with the way I feel about it, even try and pull up things that are going to explain them better for you in ways that I can't explain them. So with that, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope people got something out of this. I enjoy coming on here. I enjoy doing these videos. It makes me think. It keeps my knowledge fresh, and it allows me to send messages that God has for me to send. Thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a great and blessed holiday, safe holiday. Please continue to look after each other. Keep sending your prayers to each other, to my family. I will send my prayers to your family. Let's do this together. We have them on the ropes, guys. They know they can't stop the exposing of all these stories. They know they can't stop the exposing of what's really going on here. It's time to wake up. It's time, your God spirit that's inside of you, that spiritual light, it's time to break it open. It's time to wake up. I know that you're in there. I know you can hear this message. I know you understand this message. Let's get to going. Let's get this work done. Let's fight against these people in the spiritual realm, in the physical realm. Do whatever you have to do. Pray against these people. Continue sending your prayers against these people. Pray for your enemies, but also pray for victory over your enemies. Let's not worry about this. All this stuff that they're doing, it's not anything. It's just a drop of water in a huge ocean. They're gonna try and come at you even harder. This phase of what's going on right now. This is the easy phase. This is the it's not really showing right now phase. It's not really starting to hurt me phase. It's going to get worse. Have no second thoughts about that. It's going to get so much worse. And we're going to deal with some crazy times, some crazy stuff. If I'm right in my feeling that we are in that time of coming towards tribulation, and that this is really marking the end of the age, marking the book of Revelation, starting to move into the book of Revelation, then things are going to get a lot worse than what they are right now. But it's definitely a precursor to what is going to happen. We got this, people. Just continue to look after each other. Continue to be your brother's keeper. We got the good shepherd over us. And as long as we keep praying, as long as we stay strong, we will never fail this fight. We will never lose this battle. And we will never lose this war. With that being said, I'm grateful to have another day to be alive. I'm grateful to be able to bring another message out to the public. And as always, go in peace.